Hello everyone, I am so grateful that you're here with me. If you're watching this video, you have either already booked a reading with me and you're watching this video to prepare for it, you're curious about booking a reading with me, or you're just curious about mediumship. Whatever the case may be, I'm so grateful that you're watching with me. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel. Please go ahead and hug the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment so we can reach more people. Spread the love of spirit, the joy of spirit, the healing modalities of mediumship and intuitive work in spirit with more people on this earth plane. Let's try to heal as many people as we can. Be forever grateful. Thank you so much. So let's get into it. So while you are here, what can you expect with a reading with me? What can you expect when you come to your reading with me? So I provide two main types of readings, mediumship or intuitive. Mediumship is connecting to the soul energies, the souls of loved ones who are now on the other side, loved ones who are now in spirit. Or intuitive is connecting to your soul energy. So that would be guidance for yourself, healing messages for yourself. So two different avenues, right? Or you can come to a reading and you can say, I'm open, or I would like a mixture, and we can, ebb and flow back and forth. Totally fine. So I'm going to base this video as if it's mediumship, because for mediumship, connecting to the soul energies of loved ones on the other side, or for intuitive, connecting to the soul energies of clients, I work the exact same way. It's the exact same premise, only difference is one soul energy is in a physical body, one soul energy is not in a physical body. So let's go ahead and discuss mediumship to kind of just cover the whole plethora, all right? So I see, hear, and feel information. When I say that I see information, it means that it's in my head, it's in my mind's eye. So when I'm working with your loved ones in spirit, I'm not going to, we won't be on the Zoom call or on FaceTime, and I'm going to actually, see them standing behind you, looking at me or anything like that. It's not that blatant. It's in my head, it's much more subtle. So the way that they work with me visually is it's very much like they're playing charades. It's very much like they are playing Pictionary. So they will act things out with their bodily forms. They'll take on, the bodily form that they had when they were here, and they'll act things out as if they're playing charades. Then in terms of Pictionary, they'll show me objects, they'll show me other living people, they'll show me places. They'll kind of play out like movie-like reels sometimes. They will show me memories with you in them. They will also very often show me sort of like movie-like images with you as you are now, as their way of showing me how they interact with you from the spirit realm. So that's visual communication. Then I also hear. So very much like visual communication, hearing is also very, very subtle. So it's inside my head. So if you were to think your name to yourself, so take a moment, think your name to yourself inside your head. That's how I hear them. That's exactly how I hear them, with some small caveats, some small subtleties, but I don't hear them outside of me during readings. It is possible to hear spirit outside of yourself. That's another story for another video, but during readings, it's inside my head. So they can tell me things from like names to dates to numbers to sometimes full sentences. Pretty much anything's fair game. In terms of names, sometimes names are like clear as day. Other times they'll just kind of give me like the beginning sound of a name. So for example, I might hear Bree and it's Brianna, or Bree and it's, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, like a BR name, like Brandon or Braden or, something like that. And they'll give me a feeling with it, like, okay, BR is significant, BR is significant. So sometimes that's how names come through as well. One more thing in regards to names. So there's so many super unique names floating around these days. And also in terms of words, I guess, as well, not just names. But I do need to have a memory base in my human brain for a particular name or a particular word. So when they're sending me the energy of a word, my human brain has to have something to translate it to once it receives the energy, right? So I can't translate energy into something that there is no like raw material there for. So if there's a super, super unique name that I've literally never come across in my human time here, I'm not going to be able to give you that name exact. I'm going to receive a similar name in its place. So like, I'm like, again, going back to that beginning sound, or like, I don't know, just a name that's somewhat near it, they'll give me. Other times, for example, if they want to call you like a nickname that they often said in another language, say they were bilingual and they often called you something in a language that I don't speak, I only speak English, they're going to send me that and I'm not going to be able to translate it. But usually with that, I'll get a feeling of, hey, this is in another language, or hey, this is something I can't give you, but just say, you know, there's a nickname in another language or a nickname that you don't have a memory base for. So that happens as well. Okay. So we have covered seeing, we've covered hearing, moving on to feeling. So they will give me emotions. That's very common. So I might hear and then get a wave of a certain emotion attached to it, or see and get a wave of a certain emotion attached to it. Also sensations in my physical body. So they might, you know, just make my head hurt for a brief second, or like even give me like a toothache for a brief second, or whatever the case may be. Sensations in my physical body. Tastes, smells come in sometimes, and then also they'll just give me knowings. So knowings basically is like mental telepathy or downloads. So there are times throughout the reading where they just kind of pick and choose what I'm supposed to talk about, and basically is kind of hand it to my brain. It's the best way to describe that. So throughout the course of a reading, I'm usually using all of the modalities. Sometimes it's like 2 at once, sometimes it's all of them at once, sometimes it's 1 at once. So it's all pretty much fair game. And again, this is the same with intuitive readings. The only difference is it's oftentimes like your soul energy that's acting things out for me, which is sort of weird for people sometimes, but that's how it works. Or I'll see like the soul energies of other living people, etc. So exact same premise for intuitive versus mediumship. Regarding who we communicate with during a mediumship reading, which specific loved ones, okay? So I can't ultimately... I can never place 100% guarantee that you are absolutely going to come to the reading and we are going to communicate with who you're really hoping to. I can't 100% guarantee that. That said, I can't even really think of a time when I've come across that hasn't occurred for the client. But again, I can't place 100% guarantee on it, so I'm just going to put out that disclaimer now. So the best way to think about mediumship, okay? My soul energy and the soul energy of a loved one have to basically equalize and blend and kind of hit a sweet spot in order to blend with one another and work with one another. So if there's a certain person or persons you are really wanting to communicate with, say for, you know, grief purposes, if they don't come forward as the first communicator or even the second communicator, it's not always that they're choosing not to. It's not always that they're letting other people come forward first. Sometimes that can be the case, but it's not always the case. Sometimes the case is just that my energy and their energy aren't hitting that sweet spot in that particular moment. That can sometimes happen. So be aware of that. I do tell clients that if we get to be partway through your reading and there's a person or persons you really had booked wanting to talk to, you can stop me and just give me the relationship to you. Not other information is necessary. All I really need is the relationship to you. So stop me and say, hey, you know, I was really hoping to communicate with my husband today. Hey, I was really hoping to communicate with my mom today. And the reason that that information helps me is, again, going back to that equalization of energy. That energetic information that allows me to reach out for that person's energy to try to kind of bring them closer, or I reach out, again, I'm going out, coming closer, right? Trying to hit that sweet spot. So That is always a possibility. You can always do that at any point during your reading. I mean, if you wanted to do that from the get-go, you could. That's not usually like recommended. We usually go in open and just kind of see what happens. But you can stop me at any point and do that if that is something that you personally desire. I do not ask for it. That is not a requirement. It's just you may do that if you desire. 9.99 times, that 999 times, that works totally just fine. And most of the time, we don't need to do that anyways. So just be aware that sometimes they just want to allow other people to come forward first. Sometimes that just evidentially validates the process a little bit more. Sometimes they know somebody else has something to say. Sometimes they want you to know, who they're over there with. If you're booking to communicate with a child, even if your child is an adult, oftentimes somebody else will come forward first, just so you can kind of know who's over there with your child. There's all sorts of reasons why it can happen that way. So just be open to that being a possibility. Something else regarding readings too is they will often use what's called my frame of reference, or I should say a medium's frame of reference. So when Spirit's communicating with a medium, this goes back to how they send energy to us, right? They send energy to us of what they want to communicate. And then being that the medium is human, like I'm only a human being, right? My human brain has to take that energy in and translate it in order for something that's, can be communicated, something that's communicable, if that's a word, communicable. So for that reason, oftentimes, if there's something there wanting to communicate, I feel like this is to be efficient, to save time, and just to utilize my brain space, or maybe it's even my brain, like taking their energy and translating into something familiar as well. My frame of reference will be used. So that means that they'll take something in my personal life. They'll take like an image of one of my spirit people, or even like an image of my living people, and like pull something out of that person's life, or like pull something out of like my personal circumstances in order to parallel that story into theirs, and like add their own details to it after I put the pieces together, or parallel like into you and then add the details to it from there. So that happens, I would say not in every reading, but it happens pretty often. That's pretty cool too. So I just want to kind of make you aware of that sometimes I might say things like, oh, they're showing me, an image of my mother-in-law whose name, was Sandy, and she passed from lung cancer. And sometimes I'll say those things, and then I'll ask Spirit for a feeling of like, hey, why are you showing me her? Is it because of her personality? Is it because of the relationship? Is it because of the cause of her passing? Could her name even be similar? So like I'll ask Spirit to give me more detail on that. So they also oftentimes give me my loved ones' birthdays in order to parallel like the relationship of themselves. So they might come forward and give me my maternal grandma's birthday just to let me know like, hey, I'm maternal grandma, that sort of thing. So just frame of reference wise, sometimes it can take me just a little bit to whittle down like, hey, why are you showing me this person, or why are you showing me this circumstance? But it's just a pretty cool thing. Frame of reference can be really cool. They put themselves in my house too. They're super creative. There's so much creativity in mediumship. In terms of the spirit world, they're so smart and so intelligent. It's mind-blowing. That takes me though to the fact that there are times throughout a reading that misinterpretation can occur. And that's just because I'm human, right? So it's not that I, as a medium, will receive the information incorrectly. It's that I'll misinterpret it incorrectly. And if this is especially with the visuals, not as much with like the feelings or the hearing, it's more so with the visuals, right? So if you think about playing charades and playing Pictionary, when you're playing charades and playing Pictionary with the living, it's kind of like the point of those games is to, you know, misinterpreting takes place, right? Like that's why it's a game. But with spirit, they're trying to be as efficient and as clear as possible. But charades and Pictionary can still be hard sometimes. And I'm tasked with playing, you know, a 30-minute or a 50-minute game of charades and Pictionary with a person that I literally like can't see with my eyes. I see them in my head. So for that reason, sometimes I'll misinterpret what they're trying to tell me. It doesn't happen a lot, but it can happen like here or there. So be knowledgeable or understand that that will happen. When that happens, I will always tell you, I'll explain to you what they're showing me, or I'll explain to you what they're doing. And 9 times out of 10, you'll understand it right away. You'll be able to interpret it because obviously you know them. Obviously you know their lives, their personalities, and I don't. So therefore it's much harder for me to interpret than it is for you to interpret. So most of the time you'll understand it right away. Or after we hang up from the reading and you kind of go through your notes, or you go through your recording, if it was recorded, it'll make sense, it'll click. So just be aware of that that's a really hard word to say. Misinterpretations can happen. Also, something that people aren't really prepared for when it comes to readings is you will have something that us mediums call psychic amnesia or psychic sitter amnesia. It has a few different names. And that means that it's not uncommon for clients to actually come to the reading and totally forget things about their people. So there will be times where you tell me no, regarding what, you know, your loved one is saying, or what your loved one is showing me, or what they're making me feel. And you're like, no. And that makes me feel like, oh my gosh, am I misinterpreting something? But spirit will be like, no, this is right. No, this is right. No, this is right. So there are times where I'm just going to have to be like, okay, well, they're showing me this. This is going to make sense later. Because I'm never going to change what spirit is showing me. I'm never going to change the evidence. I'm never going to do that. What they give me is what they give me. But then you'll realize later, oh my goodness, that totally makes sense. Like, how did I forget? How did I do that? First of all, that's part of grief, right? That's, everybody who's gone through grief or is going through grief, grief brain is a real thing. Second of all, nerves, being nervous, coming to the reading, with, you know, it just happens. People forget. I had a woman a couple of weeks ago who her mom in spirit kept giving me her age, and she kept saying, no, I don't remember the exact age. I think it was like 72. She's like, my mom wasn't 72. She wasn't 72. She was like this age, and she kept giving me a different number. The client did. She emailed me later that night, and she was so embarrassed. She shouldn't have been embarrassed whatsoever. But she's like, I can't believe I did that. I told you the wrong age. My mom was right. She was 72. She was 72 or whatever. The precise number had been, again, I don't remember. She had totally forgotten her mom's age during the reading, but she kept telling me no, and her mom kept saying yes. So that's, again, that goes along with me sometimes misinterpreting, because it is difficult to interpret the information, and there are times that you'll forget. So don't come to your reading expecting like boom, like everything's going to be 100% spot on, and I'm going to hang up and every single thing made sense. Like, that is not how mediumship is. There are things that you will have to take home with you and think about. There are things that you may forget, and there are things that I may misinterpret, which goes back to what you may need to think about. Sometimes spirit really likes that, actually. I feel like sometimes they do that purposefully, because they actually work with you. Like, they work with you even when you're not realizing they're working with you. So if there's, 2 or 3 pieces from your reading, which I feel like is probably the standard number, like maybe 2 or 3 pieces, that you take with you to kind of think about, and then it clicks later, spirit is helping you click that, or get to that point of clicking. That sounds better. Spirit is helping you get to that point of clicking, because they want to work with you after I've left the conversation. Ultimately, I'm just a middle person. They want to work with you. They want a conversation with you. So helping you reach that point is their way of continuing that relationship with you. They also sometimes will bring forward things that don't make sense now because they're signs that are going to be happening later. They want the opportunity to work with you with particular signs, which will be brought up in readings. Obviously, the signs haven't yet occurred. So I get a lot of emails when, people like 2 months later, 3 months later, they're like, oh my gosh, this one piece out of the reading, I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. And look at what happened. And oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Look at this. This makes, he said this, during a reading, and look at this. Like, there are just some things that you need to be patient about. Again, this is just like a small part of your reading that will be like this, but I do want to prepare you for that. I just want to prepare you for that possibility. Okay. Other than that, I'm so excited for those of you who have already booked. I'm so excited to meet you. I'm so excited to meet your loved ones. I'm so excited to work with you. Mediumship is actually a three-tiered triangle of energy. It's me, you, and spirit all energetically working together. So please come to your reading with an open heart, an open mind, and open energy, and just know that you are actually 1/3 of the energetic conversation. So I'm so excited to engage in that with you. I'm so excited to work with you. And if you have any questions prior to your reading, please feel free to shoot me an email. If you have any questions about potentially booking a reading, or any questions about this video, any questions about mediumship, go ahead, please place a comment below, and I look forward to next time.